I pulled into the driveway of my daughter's house, the Phoenix sun beating down on my old Ford sedan like a hammer. My hands were still shaking from the 2-hour drive back from San Jose. In my jacket pocket was an envelope that weighed nothing and everything at the same time. Inside that envelope was a letter from David Chen's attorney and a stock portfolio summary that showed a number I'd read 5 times and still couldn't believe. $22 million. Before I tell you what I heard next and what I did with that impossible fortune, do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe if you've ever felt invisible in your own family's home. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I want to know who's listening. My name is Thomas Barnes. I'm 68 years old, and I used to be a firefighter for the Phoenix Fire Department. 32 years on the job. I pulled people out of burning buildings. I kicked down doors. I saved lives. But right now, sitting in this driveway, I couldn't even save myself from the crushing humiliation of living in my own daughter's basement like a forgotten box of Christmas decorations. My wife, Sarah, she died 13 months ago. Sudden heart attack while she was gardening. 1 minute she was pruning her roses. The next minute she was gone. Our house had been in her name from before we married, some legal thing with her first husband's estate. When she died, my daughter Emily inherited it. I understood. I wasn't angry about that. Emily sold it fast. Said she and Marcus needed to pay off some debts. They let me move into their basement. A concrete room with a small window near the ceiling that barely opened, a bathroom the size of a closet, and a fold-out cot that creaked every time I shifted my weight. It was supposed to be temporary. 11 months later, I was still down there. The summers in Phoenix are brutal. The house had central air, but somehow the basement stayed at about 90 degrees. Marcus said it was something to do with the ductwork. He'd get it fixed. He never did. My Social Security check, $1,800 a month, went straight to them for rent and food. I barely saw any of it. But today, everything had changed. David Chen, my college roommate from Arizona State, way back when we were both young and stupid and full of dreams. David went into tech in the 80s. I went into the fire academy. We stayed friends, sent Christmas cards, met up every few years for a beer. He never married. No kids. 3 weeks ago, his lawyer called me. David had died. Pancreatic cancer. He'd left me something. I drove to San Jose for the reading of the will this morning. I sat in that glass office tower conference room, and the lawyer, a sharp woman named Angela Reyes, slid the papers across the table. David had built a software company in the 90s, sold it for a fortune, then invested early in companies I'd heard of. Apple, Amazon, Google. He'd lived simply, saved everything. And when he died, he'd remembered his old friend, 40% of his stock portfolio. To Thomas Barnes, for being the only person who never asked me for money. $22 million. I got in my car and just drove. The whole way back to Phoenix, I kept thinking about Sarah, about how she used to tell me we should have invested more, saved more, about how proud she'd be, about how I was going to tell Emily tonight, and we'd finally have breathing room. I'd pay off their debts. I'd buy myself a small condo. We'd be a family again. I got out of the car and walked up the driveway. The front door was unlocked. I was about to push it open when I heard Marcus's voice, loud and angry, coming from the kitchen. I froze. The kitchen was right above the basement stairs. Sound traveled. Emily, I'm telling you, this is our only option. We're 30 days from foreclosure. 30 days. Marcus's voice was desperate. I'd never heard him sound like that. Marcus was always the smooth one, always confident. Investment banker, nice suits, big talk. I know. Emily's voice was small, scared. But Dad, he's my father, Marcus. We can't just... We can. Her husband cut her off. We have to. I talked to Dr. Chen. He owes me a favor. He'll do the evaluation. Your dad's been forgetting things. He left the stove on twice last month. That was a lie. I'd never touched their stove. I ate in my room. Microwave meals I bought myself. Marcus continued. Chen will sign the paperwork. We file for emergency power of attorney. We put your dad in Desert Springs. It's clean. It's safe. and his social security will cover most of it. Desert Springs. I knew that name. It was the state-run facility out by the interstate, the place with the chain-link fence and the smell of industrial cleaner and despair. My hand fell from the doorknob. I stood on my own daughter's porch, listening to them plan my exile, my imprisonment, my disappearance. And then I looked down at the envelope in my jacket pocket. $22 million. They thought I was a useless old man, costing them $1,800 a month. They thought I was a burden they could discard, and they'd never know what they'd almost had. A cold, hard decision settled in my chest. They wanted to see how much of a burden I was. Fine, I'd show them. But first, I needed to know exactly how bad this was. I needed to know if my daughter, my Emily, my little girl who I'd taught to ride a bike, who I'd walk down the aisle. I pulled out my phone and called Angela Reyes. "Miss Reyes," I said quietly, stepping back down the driveway, away from the house. "I need you to do something for me. Something urgent." "What is it, Thomas?" "I need you to set up a trust. An irrevocable one. I need it done today. And I need you to find out everything you can about my son-in-law, Marcus Webb. Everything. Debts, assets, legal history, everything." There was a pause. "Thomas, what's going on? I just need to know what I'm dealing with before I make any decisions." "Can you do it?" "I can have the trust documents ready by tomorrow, and I know a firm in Phoenix that handles investigations. But Thomas, this will cost money. I have $22 million, Angela. Money isn't the problem." She was quiet for a moment. "Understood. I'll make the calls. Stay safe, Thomas." I hung up. Then I walked around to the side of the house, to the basement door. I had my own key. I let myself in, went down the narrow stairs, and sat on my cot in the 90-degree heat. I unfolded the stock portfolio summary one more time. 22 million. They had no idea, and they weren't going to find out. Not until it was too late. I waited until dinner time. I heard them moving around upstairs, the sounds of plates, silverware. No one called me. No one came to check on me. I sat in the heat and waited. Finally, around 8 o'clock, the basement door opened. Emily came down the stairs carrying a small plate. On it was a piece of chicken, mostly bone, and a spoonful of cold mashed potatoes. "Hi, Dad." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Sorry we didn't call you up. We ate early. Marcus had a work thing. I brought you some leftovers." She set the plate on the folding TV tray next to my cot. She was already backing toward the stairs. "Thank you, sweetheart," I said, my voice weak and old. "How was your day?" "Fine. Busy." She was almost to the stairs. "I should get back up. Marcus needs help with something." "Emily," I said. She stopped. "The lawyer called me today. About David. My friend David who passed." She turned, and for just a moment, I saw it. A flash of interest, of hunger. "Oh? Did he leave you anything?" "No," I said, letting my shoulders slump. "No, honey. Turns out he left everything to some tech charity. I just got a letter. A nice letter, saying he remembered me fondly. That's all." The disappointment on her face was so naked it hurt. "Oh, well, that's nice, I guess." "The letter." "Yeah." I looked down at my sad plate of scraps. "It's something." She left without another word. I sat there looking at the cold chicken bone, and I knew. She was in on it. Maybe not the architect, but she was complicit. My little girl had chosen her husband over her father. She'd chosen financial survival over basic human decency. The next morning, I shuffled upstairs. I made sure to shuffle, to move slowly, to seem confused. Marcus was at the kitchen table with his laptop and a cup of expensive coffee. "Morning, Marcus," I said. He barely looked up. "Morning, Tom." I poured myself a glass of water from the tap. "I saw you got one of those fancy coffee machines," I said. "That's nice." "Yeah. Well, we work hard. We deserve small luxuries." I nodded slowly, like I was processing something difficult. "Say, Marcus," I said. "I think I might have left my medication somewhere. Have you seen it? The little orange bottles?" He sighed, loud and dramatic. "Tom, I don't keep track of your pills. You probably put them somewhere and forgot. Again, the pills were in my bathroom downstairs. I knew exactly where they were, but I needed him to think I was forgetting. I needed him to build his case. Oh, okay. I'll look again. I shuffled back toward the basement door, then stopped. Marcus, what day is it? He looked at me like I was an insect. It's Thursday, Tom. Right. Thursday. I nodded and went back downstairs. I heard him immediately get on his phone. Yeah, Dr. Chen, it's Marcus Webb. Listen, it's getting worse. This morning he didn't know what day it was. How soon can you come by? I sat on my cot and I smiled. Not a nice smile. I pulled out my phone and checked my email. Angela had sent me the trust documents. Signed, sealed, protected. $5 million moved from the stock sale into an account that only I could touch. Even if they got power of attorney, even if they had me declared incompetent, they couldn't get to it. I was safe. And there was a second email from the investigation firm. Subject line, Marcus Webb, preliminary report. I opened it. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were steady. The report was 20 pages long. Marcus Webb wasn't an investment banker. He'd been fired from his firm 18 months ago for improper trading. Since then, he'd been running a cryptocurrency education business that was, in the investigator's opinion, very likely a pyramid scheme. He'd borrowed against the house. Not once, twice. He'd taken out a reverse mortgage 6 months ago for $90,000, and the investigator found evidence that he'd forged my signature as a co-signer. The house I was living in wasn't 30 days from foreclosure. It was 7 days away. The auction was already scheduled. Marcus had gambled everything on crypto schemes and motivational seminars that he sold to desperate people looking to get rich quick. And he'd lost it all. Every penny. The house was gone. Their savings were gone. And now, in his panic, he'd decided that I was the problem. That if he could just get rid of the old man in the basement, if he could just get control of my $1,800 Social Security check, maybe he could buy himself another month, another week. I forwarded the email to Angela. Then I typed a message. I need you to buy this debt, both mortgages. I need you to contact the bank today and buy everything they owe, whatever it costs. She called me 5 minutes later. Thomas, this is $160,000 in debt. I know. Do it. I want to own the paper on this house by Monday. You want to own your daughter's debt? I want to own the house she thinks she's losing. And Angela, I need one more thing. I need you to draft an eviction notice. 30 days. I'll tell you when to serve it. Thomas, she said quietly, what are you doing? I'm making sure I have options. Can you do it? I'll have everything ready by Monday afternoon. Good. And Angela, not a word to anyone. This stays between us. That night, Marcus came down to the basement. He actually knocked, which was new. Tom, can I talk to you for a second? I was sitting on my cot, pretending to read an old Western novel. Sure, Marcus. Come in. He sat on the plastic chair in the corner, the one that creaked under his weight. Look, I wanted to talk to you about something. Emily and I, we're worried about you. Worried? Yeah. You're forgetting things. The medication. The day of the week. We think maybe you should see someone. A doctor. Just to check in. Make sure everything's okay. I let my face crumple a little. Do you think something's wrong with me? No, he said. But his eyes were bright with something ugly. It's just preventative. There's a doctor. A friend of mine. Dr. Chen. He specializes in cognitive health for seniors. He's coming by tomorrow. Just to talk. Nothing scary. Tomorrow. Friday. The day before the house auction. Okay, I said, my voice small. If you think it's best, we do, Tom. We really do. He stood up. It's because we care about you. After he left, I sat in the dark. The temperature in the basement had to be 95 degrees. I was sweating through my shirt. They'd turned the AC off entirely, probably to save money they didn't have. I pulled out my phone and texted Angela. Tomorrow is the day. Have the eviction notice ready, and I need you to be here when the doctor comes. The next morning, Dr. Chen arrived at 10. He was a small man in an expensive suit, carrying a leather bag. I was sitting in the living room, in the same chair I'd sat in the day I overheard them. Marcus and Emily were on the couch, united front, concerned family. "Mr. Barnes," Dr. Chen said, shaking my hand. "I'm Dr. Richard Chen. Your family asked me to come by and just have a chat with you. How are you feeling today?" "I'm all right," I said, a little confused about why I need a doctor. "Well, let's just talk. Can you tell me what day it is?" I looked at Marcus. He was leaning forward, eager. "Friday," I said. "Good. And who is the president?" I answered correctly. I answered every single one of his questions correctly. I watched the frustration build on Marcus's face. Dr. Chen frowned. He looked at Marcus. "He seems quite lucid to me." "He has episodes," Marcus said quickly. "Yesterday he couldn't remember where his medication was. He forgot what day it was." "Did you?" Dr. Chen asked me. I was quiet. This was the moment. I could keep playing the game, or I could end it. The doorbell rang. Marcus jumped. "Who's that?" "I'll get it," I said, standing up. I walked to the front door and opened it. Angela Reyes stood on the porch in a sharp business suit, carrying a briefcase. Behind her was a man in a sheriff's uniform. "Mr. Barnes," Angela said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm Angela Reyes, attorney at law. I represent the trust that now holds the mortgage on this property." I turned to look at Marcus. The color had drained from his face. "What? What is she talking about?" I walked back into the living room. "Dr. Chen," I said, my voice clear and strong, not a trace of confusion. "You can leave. I'm not your patient. I'm not incompetent. I'm a 68-year-old man with complete control of his faculties, and I don't need an evaluation." "Tom, what are you doing?" Emily whispered. "I'm doing what I should have done 11 months ago." I looked at Marcus. "I know about the debt. I know about the reverse mortgage. I know you forged my signature. I know the house is being auctioned tomorrow." Marcus shot to his feet. "You don't know anything, old man. I know everything." "Angela, tell them." She stepped forward. "Mr. Webb, Miss Barnes, as of 9 o'clock this morning, the trust I represent purchased all outstanding debt on this property, both the original mortgage and the reverse mortgage, secured through fraudulent means. You no longer owe the bank. You owe my client." "Who?" Marcus shouted. "Who the hell is your client?" "I am," I said. "I own your debt. I own this house. And I'm evicting you." Emily started crying. "Dad, what are you saying? I don't understand." I looked at my daughter. The daughter I'd loved. The daughter I'd raised. "You were going to put me in Desert Springs. You were going to lock me away in a state facility and take my social security. You were going to have this man." I gestured to Dr. Chen. "Sign a paper saying I was incompetent so you could steal what little I had left." "We weren't stealing," Marcus yelled. "We were trying to help you. By locking me in a 95-degree basement? By feeding me chicken bones? By planning to throw me away?" "Dad, please," Emily sobbed. "We didn't have a choice. We're losing everything." "You already lost it, Marcus," I said. "You lost it the day you decided to scam people with your crypto schemes. You lost it when you forged my signature. You lost it when you treated me like garbage." Angela handed Marcus an envelope. "This is your 30-day eviction notice. You have until July 15th to vacate the premises." Marcus ripped open the envelope, his hands shaking. "This is insane. You can't do this. You're a broke old man living in our basement." "No," I said. "I was a broke old man living in your basement. Now, I'm a man with $22 million. My college friend David died and left me his stock portfolio. I found out the day before you decided to call Dr. Chen." The room went silent. Emily's crying stopped. Marcus's face went through a series of colors: purple, red, white. "22 million?" Emily whispered. 22 million. I let that sink in. I was going to tell you that day. I was going to pay off all your debts. I was going to buy myself a small place and still help you out. I was going to be your father, and you were going to be my family. Marcus lunged. You still can. Tom, listen. We made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But you can fix this. You can pay off the house. We can be a family again. I took a step back. The sheriff's deputy stepped forward, one hand on his belt. I wouldn't, sir. Marcus stopped. Emily was staring at me like she'd never seen me before. I can fix it, I said, but I won't. You wanted me gone. You wanted me in Desert Springs. You called me a burden. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take my $22 million, and I'm going to start a foundation. I'm going to call it Sarah's Shield. It's going to help elderly people who are being financially abused by their families. People like me. People who are trapped in basements and attics and sunrooms, being slowly erased while their children steal from them. Dad, no, Emily whispered. Please don't do this. And you too, I said, looking at both of them. You have 30 days to find somewhere else to live. I suggest you start packing. I walked out of that house. I got in my Ford sedan, and I drove to a hotel downtown. I checked into a suite with air conditioning that actually worked. I ordered room service. I took a long, cold shower, and for the first time in 13 months, I slept in a real bed. Angela called me the next morning. Thomas, she said, the house auction was canceled. You own it free and clear. What do you want to do with it? Sell it, I said. Put it on the market Monday. Whatever we get, put it into the foundation. And the investigation into Marcus's fraud? File a police report. Let them handle it. I'm done. One more thing, she said. Your daughter called my office. She wants to talk to you. Tell her I'll think about it. I didn't think about it. Not for 8 months. I moved to Sedona, bought a small house with a view of the Red Rocks. I set up Sarah's Shield with Angela's help. We hired lawyers, caseworkers, investigators. In 8 months, we helped 43 people. We stopped 17 fraudulent guardianship cases. We moved 26 seniors out of abusive situations. I kept myself busy. I hiked. I volunteered at the local fire station, teaching kids about fire safety. I didn't think about Emily. And then the letter came. It was handwritten, on cheap notebook paper. The handwriting was Emily's. Dad, it started. I don't have the right to ask you to read this. I probably don't have the right to call you Dad anymore. But I'm going to try. Marcus and I are divorced. He's in jail. The prosecutor charged him with fraud for the crypto schemes and for forging your signature. I didn't know about the forgery, Dad. I swear I didn't know. But I knew we were in trouble, and I let him convince me that you were the problem. I'm so sorry. I'm living with my friend Rachel now. I got a job as a teacher's aide. It doesn't pay much, but it's honest work. I'm going to AA meetings, not for drinking, but they have a thing called Al-Anon for people who enabled others. I'm learning that I made choices, bad choices, and I'm trying to be better. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for anything except maybe, someday, if you can, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to say I'm sorry to your face. I'd like to tell you about Mom, about how much I miss her, and how much I regret that I didn't honor her memory by taking care of you the way she would have wanted. But I understand if you can't. I understand if I broke something that can't be fixed. I love you, Dad. I always did. I just forgot how to show it. Your daughter, Emily. I read that letter 5 times. I sat on my porch in Sedona, watching the sun set over the Red Rocks, and I cried. Not for me, for Sarah, for the daughter we'd raised, for the family we'd lost. I picked up my phone and called Angela. I need you to do something for me. What is it, Thomas? I need you to find out where Emily is living, and I need you to send her something. Money? No. An invitation. Thanksgiving is next month. Tell her if she wants to come, she can. Just her. We'll have turkey. We'll talk. We'll see. Angela was quiet. Are you sure? No, I said. But Sarah would want me to try. Emily came for Thanksgiving. She brought a pumpkin pie she'd made herself. We sat on my porch and we talked. We cried. We didn't fix everything. You can't fix betrayal with one conversation, one pie, one holiday. But it was a start. I'm not telling you this story to say I'm a hero. I'm not. I'm a 68-year-old man who got lucky, who had a friend who remembered him, who had resources to fight back. Most people in my situation don't. That's why Sarah's Shield exists. If this story touched you, if you've ever felt invisible, or disposable, or like a burden, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. I've got more stories to tell. Leave a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Have you ever had to set a boundary with family? Have you ever had to choose yourself? Thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next one.